You probably wouldn't anyway, but you never know.
You never know.
It's so good to hear you play like that. Really nice.
So
Beautiful.
nice to see you. Yeah.
No, ladies and gentlemen, this is Ron Peters, um,
Hi,
my
everybody.
old friend, and I'll just say it right now, old boyfriend. I just had to say, I just have to be
Yeah,
come clean.
I got to tell you a funny story. Uh, my friend, singer Jacqueline Tabor, who you might know her name.
I know that name.
She's a local, wonderful singer. Anyway, she says, Ron, I was on a site. I was on a site where this Cathy Segal-Garcia, and she mentioned that you and her were an item. Are they talking about my Ron Peters? That's what she said. She goes, I said, well, yeah, as a matter of fact, she couldn't believe it. She couldn't believe it. You should have her on, by the way.
Okay, I have to write her name down. Jacqueline.
Jacqueline Tabor, Tabor. She's a fun lady and a great singer.
Yeah, I'll look for her. While we're talking, I'll have to find that old picture of us that.
I thought of that too. I was wondering if you had it. I can
I
probably
probably.
call it up on my phone
Let
while
me
I'm
take a,
talking.
I'll take a quick look at that where I think it might be.
Okay.
But uh,
Actually, I think I know where it might be
you
too.
do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great shot.
I always put stuff on my computer where I think it's, like uh,
Yeah,
really.
where you think you're going to find it right away, and then you end
Yeah.
up not
Now,
finding
I
it.
didn't find, let me just qualify this. So Ron and I dated in college. So that was in 76. And
Ah,
then we moved. Oh yeah, that one. Oh, that is too cool. That's us in college.
yes, that's so cool.
I remember, I wish I had that hat still.
I wish I had that hat still too.
And then do you remember this? Uh, whoops, hold it.
Oh my God.
You were in
Wow.
Burbank, and remember there was like we went to
Yeah.
this hotel that was near the airport. That was my cousin Linda, and
Yeah.
they were having a an alien convention next door. Remember that?
Yeah. That's great. Your
How
cousin,
about this one?
oh my God. Oh my God.
Old
That
friends.
we were talking about people on other planets. Those two guys are on another planet. That's great. That's great.
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, I have a whole bunch of people here. Hi, Taylor. Taylor Hatch, great guitar player. Nice person, smart, goes to UNT. Mary Bogue.
Taylor Hatch I think he just friended me on Facebook this morning. Did you, Taylor?
He probably did because
Yeah.
that's his style. And Mary Bogue is just, love. Oh, Michael Jokum. Hey, Michael Jokum.
Michael Jokum. Hey,
Ah.
hey. That's a guy who I love your post, Michael. We're definitely on the same planet.
Ron and I were talking about people on different planets before we got on, that we think that people on a different planet should just like live in one state. And then they can have whatever they want in the state. It's great.
So true. I'm sure Michael would agree.
Joyce Glasgow.
Oh yeah.
I know you know Joyce.
Yeah.
She's a Seattle human.
Yes.
Uh, yeah, Taylor, he did. He said very nice Jim Hall feel.
Oh, thank you.
Did
Thank
you study with Jim Hall, Ron?
you. On my
Okay.
current the on my current website, my daughter rewrote my bio, and she was confusing Jim Hall with Joe Pass. I actually studied with Joe Pass, but not with Jim Hall.
Ah,
Although I love Jim Hall.
yeah.
Always have.
You sounded beautiful. Your tone was really beautiful. And then yeah, your harmonic stuff that was happening was beautiful. Really very nice.
Thanks. I'm not sure that when I knew you, I really wasn't playing like that. So I've changed a lot since I came to Seattle because all I play here is jazz. I don't play anything else. And so it's been good for me to be up here. Who I've been in touch with recently is it's funny you picked Savoy because I actually demoed a guitar with that tune for him yesterday with Jim Fox.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't play that tune that often, but I just said, I just noodle around on this tune for you because he wanted to hear a guitar that I bought. And yeah, so Jim's great.
Jim's great. He's such a cool guy. Yeah. Yeah, there's so many, obviously, so many guitar players we know together. And, John Stoll, Jamie Finley, those guys have moved up.
Yeah,
Or, well, John was always there.
I've crossed paths with both those guys.
Jamie's cool, huh?
Jamie's really cool.
Yeah.
We were playing, I was playing with a singer at a festival. It's right before COVID, probably the last summer before COVID. And he came up to me. Jamie says, Ron, because we had talked on email and stuff, or texted, but we hadn't really connected. And he came up to me after the gig and said, "Oh, you sound great, and it's great to see you. And I know you know Cathy and all that." Jamie's great. He's a great guy.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart. Yeah. He and I go back a long time too, actually, like to the Ted Green days.
I know. I remember you telling me once, long time ago. I think maybe I might have still been in LA, but I remember you saying somebody you need to know is Jamie Finley. He's really a great guitarist. Yeah, he's
So,
great.
wow. So I have to pretend I don't know you so well. Where are you from? I know. Anyway, but yeah, but I want to kind of stroll down a little bit of memory lane for you. Like uh, I do want to find out. Yeah, I'm trying to remember if I even know about how you were when you were a kid with guitar and your dad and mom buying you. I don't know what happened back then. How did you get into guitar?
Well, when I was really, really young, I used to. My mom had played at one point in her life. She played what she called Hawaiian steel guitar. And
Really?
there were a couple of square-necked acoustic steel guitars laying around the house when I was very young,
Oh.
and and so I discovered them, and I was going.
Now that I can picture.
and and they got together and they said, "Ron, would you like to have guitar lessons?" And so, of course, I jumped at the chance and took guitar lessons for a number of years in my hometown in Palmdale, California, and just kind of went along with the teacher for a long time as I was young. But then sort of the surf guitar thing happened, and that caught my ear. And there was a couple of guys that came around that knew my mom that played in a band, and so I went and saw them, and I was hooked. That was it. I had to do that.
Wow.
And long story short, I went on and learned how to play surf guitar and rock guitar and all that stuff, and started playing in bands when I was, I believe I was in 8th grade when I started playing in bands, and rock bands, just
Yeah.
playing early rock stuff, and it was big time fun. I loved it, and then there was a group out in Lancaster that was really important for my development, and they were called Captain Beefheart and the Magic.
Oh, yeah.
And
Okay, now this is something I don't think I remember
that's interesting.
talking about with you. Yeah.
Well, Beefheart was it in those days was a really great blues band with great guitar players. And so me and my buddies would go to a place called the Exposition Hall in Lancaster, and we'd stand there and Google at the guitar players while they were playing. They were really good. And we became friends with one of the guys in the band named Rich Hepner. And I don't know what happened to Rich, but he says, you know, we were kind of like, hey, can you help us out? What should we listen to? And he goes, BB King. BB King. Get everything you can get by BB King. So of course we did that and learned how to play the blues, and really absorbed after that. This was when I was probably 13, maybe 14.
Yeah.
And so we learned a lot about the blues. I studied the blues and played the blues for years after that, and had a band.
Wow.
Do you remember Paul West?
Yeah. Paul West, right? Sure, of course.
Paul West.
We got tattoos with Paul.
That's right. Still got mine.
Well, I'd show you mine, but mine's on my butt. So. Okay, so Paul, but I forgot that Paul West was a musician.
Yeah, well, he played a little bit of bass, but he mostly was the lead singer of this band.
Oh, wow.
One band, we went and did it all through high school. It was one band. We were called the Obi Band, named after a Beefheart song. And other friends of mine played in the band. Another guy named Bill Harkleroad, who went on to Zoot Horn Rollo fame with Kevin.
Wait a minute. What is Zoot Hall Rollo? Is that a band?
Zoot Horn Rollo was Beefheart's name for my friend Bill Harkleroad, who was the guitar player in his band.
Really? Wow. Cool.
He named his players what he thought they should be named. Anyway, so ended up playing blues all through high school. And then towards the end of high school, I got a teacher who was a jazz guitar player who happened to have been friends with Tal Farlow. And he was the guy that turned me on to Joe Pass, Howard Roberts, Jim Hall, Wes Montgomery, all these great jazz guitarists. And I heard that, I just went, oh my God, I've got to be able to do that. You know, and it took me a long time to understand what they were doing. It was part of the reason I ended up going to Berklee, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where
Wow.
I met you, by the way.
Yeah, that's right. You and I met there. Yeah. That's okay. See, so I feel like I was kind of missing some of that information. I probably knew that Paul was in your band, but I mean, definitely I forget.
It's only been 50 years. What's wrong with
I
it?
know.
By
Yeah.
the way, you see that guitar hanging on the wall back there?
Yes.
That was the guitar I played in those bands in high school.
You're
I
kidding.
still have it.
That's amazing.
I know. I gave it to my daughter, but she says, hang it in your studio, Dad. So I did.
I remember, I have to say, one of my all-time fondest memories in the world, for some weird reason, is, I mean, it's not that weird, but it's kind of weird that I would single this out. There was one afternoon that you and I were in our apartment in North Hollywood, and you were showing me the wood from your guitar. It was blonde.
It was my old Johnny Smith guitar, and I was showing you the back.
Yeah.
Plain maple. Yeah.
Yes. And I just remember, probably because of your love for it and your obsession with it, right? That I like soaked that in, and it made this indelible memory. But I remember feeling the love too for the for the instrument, you know.
I went on to play that guitar for 25 years before I finally sold it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a great guitar.
By the way, Jim Fox is here,
Hi, Jim.
and he and Michael Joachim are talking already.
Oh, that's great.
Michael said he always loved playing with you during his 40-year tenure in LA. An honor.
Ah, what a sweet thing for him to say.
Very nice.
Thank you, Michael.
Okay, here's a question. Taylor has a lot of great questions, so I kind of pick and choose. Oh, he loves to ask about counterpoint. He's saying he asks this to guitar players a lot, but in your practice now or at some point, did you come up with your own approach to counterpoint, and what did you reference to help improve your voice leading?
Wow, loaded question. Particularly fingerstyle guitarists of a jazz idiom. People that come to mind are Ed Bickert, Ted Green, Lenny Breau. Those guys are certainly playing with a lot of counterpoint today. Martin Taylor. There's other guys I could name a bunch of guys, but those guys really defined what counterpoint and moving lines, internal lines can be on the guitar. Certainly going back into Joe Pass and those guys as well. I mean, I don't want to leave anybody off the list, but I think today I listen more to piano players than I do guitar players. I love guitar players. I still love guitar, but piano players are doing things that we'll never be able to do on the guitar, but it's fun to try.
Yeah. Taylor mentioned Pasquale Grasso.
Oh, I just met Pasquale about 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
And he's a phenomenal. He may be. He's certainly in the top 2 or 3 guitarists I've ever had the pleasure to observe. He's got an amazing command of the instrument and a very sweet guy. He's young enough to still have. He's got more chops than he should for his age, and so he doesn't quite yet know what not to play because he can play everything that he wants at any moment. But he is phenomenal, and I think in about, I don't sound like an old guy here, but in about 10 to 15 years, as he seasons, he's going to be unfreaking believable. He's already unfreaking believable, but he'll settle into something really, really beautiful.
Yeah.
Have you heard any of his work with Samara Joy?
Yeah, I heard them live actually in LA.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that concert, it was a piano player too. I can't remember if it was the 3 of them. It was at Skirball, and I was probably listening more to Samara, and she is like what you just described, Pasquale. She's unfrigging believable, and probably in about 10 or 15 years, she's going to be like, even more unbelievable. Yeah. She's 22.
I know. There's a kind of a crop of young singers coming out of New York right now that are phenomenal. Have you heard Veronica Swift?
Actually, I know her because her mom, Stephanie Nakazian, is a singer. And her dad was Hod O'Brien. He was like a burning straight ahead piano player. And they came here. You know how I would invite people to come and do workshops and have them stay at my house. So they stayed at my house when Veronica was about 12.
And she already could sing.
Yeah, and she had just made a record too when she was 12. And anyway, she's really talented too. In fact, when she sings a ballad, I'm just totally floored because her ballad, when you hear a singer sing a ballad, it's like you really you can feel what they are about,
I agree. Totally.
She's great. And another, not a super young person, but Cecile McLaurin-Salvant is another.
She's very good. Yeah.
Brilliant with her pianist, weird name.
Oh yeah, I can't think of it. And her guitarist husband. Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, I can't.
Are you thinking of Kate McGarry or something?
Yeah, I'm thinking of Kate McGarry, but I know.
Oh, now he's a great guitar player too.
Yeah, Keith Gans.
Yeah, Keith Gans. Wow.
Yeah.
There's so many incredible people all over the planet, man.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
That's what I really like about this period of time. I mean, part of why I see it probably is because of this show, but I just think there's so much enlightenment about musicians all over the planet who are creating these incredible things of beauty. And I really feel like everybody that world is meshing, and
I agree.
as somebody said to me, balancing out the crazy shit,
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
kind of think of that as part of our job,
Me too. Me
you know,
too.
because there's a lot of crazy shit to balance out right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
I agree. Yeah.
pat yourself on the back.
Okay. All right.
Hey, guess who's here? Which I can't find the picture. I don't know where this picture was. Dave Diggs.
David Diggs. Hey. Actually, hold on. Hold
Oh,
on. I
and
think
while he's showing that, I'll show this picture again of Ron and me because this I found this, oops, I didn't mean to do that. So, yeah. This is Ron and me in college. We were going out. We were at Berklee together.
that's great.
And I don't even know if where this was. I don't remember. Um,
Yeah, that was, I don't know, so somewhere in Brookline or Brighton, I think.
this is years later because we look a lot not like how we look now. We were in Seattle together and we did a workshop at Greta Matas's house.
Yes.
That's also same. Yep. Yep. Same thing.
I'm still
Oh,
looking for that picture with Dave and I'll find it, but take a look at this. That's my first band.
well, you won the grand prize, man.
And I'm playing that guitar.
That's you, right? Right there.
I'm on the left.
Second to the left, right?
Second to the
Right.
left, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
playing that guitar that's hanging on the wall behind me.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Anyway,
That's funny, man. I also came up looking for those pictures. I came up with you and you like minds. What was that?
oh yeah, like Minds. That's a buddy of mine, Greg Glassman, who's been a very good friend of mine here, who's a fine guitar player, and we used to teach at the same place. And between students, we'd play, and finally we said we should do a project, and we made. We actually did two projects, but the one that you're looking at, it was the CD that we did, and that goes back probably 15 years now. It's a long time ago, but we're still very good friends. I see him regularly still, and it's just a guitar duo project.
I have Emily and Groove and High. Which one? I'm gonna just play one. Which one?
Play Groove and High.
Okay. All right, here we go. Oh, it's only 1 minute.
All acoustic. This must have been, I wonder why I have just like a little cut of it. Yeah, I
Now,
don't know. I'm not sure either.
this guy, Mark Baldrich, found Alone Together. He said, did you do this video?
With
Let's see.
possible,
Let me see. He said it's good.
it's probably with the manual.
Oh, with a manual.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was him. Yep. Yep, that's him. We'll watch a little bit of this. I mean, we have a lot to talk about, but this bass player too.
Oh yeah, Manuel's great.
Nice run. nice. This is one reason why this is so nice to hear is because it really sounds like you're just loving playing the music, you know, and that comes across. It's really nice.
Well, that's a nice compliment. Thanks.
Yeah.
I got to tell you a quick story about that particular gig. Maybe not that exact night, but at that venue.
Yeah.
Do you know who Nichelle Michaels, I believe it was, that just died? Nichelle Nichols. She was Lieutenant Uhuru on Star Trek.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
She just died like yesterday or the day before.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
One day, sitting right at the front table, right in front of us, where we were in that scene you just showed, she was sitting there, and she was sitting there with an entourage. It was because Comic-Con was in Seattle, and they were having a giant Comic-Con convention, and all these people in costumes were all over the place. And she's a big Comic-Con speaker, I guess. Anyway, so she came, and she was sitting there listening to us and nodding approvingly, and invited us over for drinks afterwards, and she was so sweet. It was so nice to get a chance to meet her. Anyway, I wanted to show you this. Dave Diggs, if you're still watching, there you are.
You found it. Look at us. That was in 76, probably.
Something like that, yeah.
We had a band, obviously.
It's a great shot.
I remember that day.
I love the big collar shirts. Gotta have the big collars.
Yeah. I think I still keep that dress just for the hell of it,
You never know.
I was having a really cool talk with a guy yesterday who I actually just met, John Coliani, but he's on the East Coast. He's a pianist. He played with Mel Torme for 5 years, and he was in his teens, and he started playing with Lionel Hampton.
Oh my God! Wow.
Yeah, and he played with Hamp for a long time. He went on the road with him, and I mean, he really has that big band thing, And we were just talking about, the names of like standards or pop or all the various things, and he feels really strongly that standards just were this incredibly great period of music that that's what they were. There's not like the new standards. No, it's standards are from that period of time, and they're really good. And I don't know if Taylor asked this, but he usually asks like what standard do you like? Let's see, Taylor, let me see if I can say how you ask. What standard do you like to go to for harmonic work? Just like, do you find yourself going back to?
Stella is the first one that comes
Stella.
to mind.
Uh-huh.
But there's certainly a slew of great standards that
Yeah.
Have changes that need a lot of work. Body and Soul.
Yeah.
Geez.
And actually, Alone Together is.
I was just going to say, Alone Together is one of my favorite songs. Yeah, so no question.
Yeah.
There's so many great standards, and that, I mean, I can be playing a standard and think, I love this song. This is my favorite song. And I'll play the next tune, and I love this song. This is my favorite song.
I know, it's really interesting. The other night I was awake, at some weird hour, and I went to the piano and I opened my old real book.
Oh, wow.
My old real book. And I opened it up to a song that I didn't know, strangely enough. It was Cole Porter tune called Could It Be You? And it's
that tune. Yeah.
Could it be you, the one I've waited for?
Yeah.
And the song actually goes through some really interesting key shifts.
Cole Porter is amazing.
The words were great, and also that ba da doo dee the where the melody is related to the chord is interesting. It's not like when I kept going back to that spot, to come around, I would start higher. And
Hmm.
I had to make myself start lower. And I realized it was really akin to the key, might have been I'm not sure if the first note, and also ba ba ba, which a lot of songs go ba ba ba, start high and go low.
Yeah,
This one,
yeah.
ba ba do day. It really pretty tune.
Wow. Yeah, I really love, I think Cole Porter, if, well, I was going to say he's probably my favorite of the standards, but no, Jimmy Van Heusen's right up there too,
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, just there's so many great composers of the
I
standard.
know.
And
I
it's,
know.
and a lot of those musicians, those people were not heavily schooled. Some of them were, but many of them weren't. That was just how they heard the music, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really interesting to, this is a really fascinating book if you don't have it.
Yeah, I think who showed that to me? I think it was John or somebody this week showed that book to me.
It's a great book. This guy Ted Goya is a really
Yeah,
great author.
yeah, yeah,
Any standard you can think of, the story behind it is in here.
yeah, yeah, that's right. And I know who showed it to me. This guy is doing an interview with me with video. I mean, he's like he came over and we had the first meeting. He took some B-roll and he's going to come again. Justin McFadden, nice young guy.
Hmm.
And he brought that book because I showed him the book on lyrics, which
Oh,
a very interesting book too. It lists all these lyrics to the Great American Songbook, who wrote them, a few little stories.
does it list the verses?
Yes, it does.
Oh, see, all the singers I work with, they always want to do the verse, and I love verses. A lot of singers kind of gloss over the verse. Man, the verses are incredible. You know,
Sometimes.
sometimes, yes, right,
Sometimes they're really corny,
yeah, it's
but
true.
there are some beautiful verses. And I'm going to send you a book that Ross Tompkins gave me. It was
Oh,
a little booklet that a friend of his made of some verses, about 20 or 30 of them.
oh, cool.
I'll send you that. It's really an interesting thing to have.
Ross Tompkins, we lost him, what, 3, 4 years ago, 5 years ago?
Longer. Yeah, let's see. I was married to Gary, and his wife was a really good friend of mine. She died first, and then he died like a year or two later. It was probably, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, 8 years,
Wow,
10 years ago, something like that.
time goes so fast these days.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know it really does, especially with the pandemic,
Oh
'cause
yeah, it's
what
a
you would
time warp.
normally feel like, yeah, is like 8 years ago is actually 10 years ago because of the pandemic, you
I
know.
know, I know.
Um, let's see. Well, I noticed that Taylor asked about teaching. So, yeah, I'll ask about teaching. I know you teach.
Yeah, I
Uh,
do.
and he wants to know, I'm laughing because when singing students ask me what my lessons are, what they are,
Oh,
I always, I'm somewhat amused. I don't know why, but it's like, I guess because, I mean, you can talk about your lessons, but it's much better to take one, or even just to have a talk first and
yeah.
then, but because, what do it usually ends up being like a pat on your back, because of course you're going to describe yourself well. But so he says, describe your teaching philosophy and what do you believe are key elements to bring an effective educator?
Okay, that's a really good question. My philosophy is that fundamentals are super important. Um, you need to have all that shit together. Pardon my French.
Yeah.
So I spend a lot of time with fundamentals with students, but then it's also important not to get bogged down in technical aspects. Playing scales and arpeggios till the you have to do all that stuff, but it's really important to study the music you want to play and play that music at whatever level you're at. I mean, within reason, assuming that you have something together to get through the first tune. But really, I think it's important to play the music and study technical things, arpeggios and scales and all that within the tune context. It shouldn't be done outside of that, I believe. Um, so that's probably my biggest philosophy. Also, playing with others. Boy, is that important. And that's really hard during the pandemic. But, people really can excel faster and learn music at a deeper level if they play with others and play the music with others. So students of mine that are like high school students that have combos that are playing jazz, boy, those some of those students take right off. I mean, they really do well. So that's probably my philosophy in a nutshell. Tunes, fundamentals, um, beyond that, I mean, it's practice. Just there's no substitute for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. It's similar with voice students too, but of course, but I find myself also working a lot on I guess you could call it philosophy. I mean, half of it is a head trip, you know,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And have you read Kenny Werner's second book?
No, I want to get it. It's on my list to get. I,
Oh, good.
I love Kenny Werner. What an amazing guy.
You're gonna dig the second book. It is actually an outgrowth from the first book, and it shows to me it shows how his head space has, you know, exponentially, grown. It's really good.
He came to town with Toots Thielman years ago
Yeah,
during the first book, and a place called Jazz Alley here in town.
yeah.
And after the gig, he was just sitting at the bar. So I went up and chatted with him a little bit, and I said, I just want to thank you for writing that book. And he says, I had no idea that book was going to take off and do what it's done. He says there are effortless mastery groups all over the world that get together and do
Yeah.
those exercises and things. He says it just sort of blossomed out of me, and he was really kind of taken aback by all of that. And I think it's such a cool book, boy. And I
Well,
can't wait to read the next one.
you know that Berkeley about 7 or 8 years ago made an effortless mastery department.
No, they did. I didn't know
Yes.
that.
And he's
Wow.
he's in charge of it.
Oh my God, that's great.
When I talked to him recently, he said he said that he finally realized that playing piano is great, but that's not really what his purpose is anymore. His purpose is actually giving people this teaching,
Wow, that's so cool. I've had the opportunity for many years. The whole time I've lived in Seattle, I've taught at various music camps, and one of them in particular called Puget Sound Guitar Workshop, which is a really great organization. Many of my current friends have come out of that. But um, that thought comes to mind that, I'm almost like if you could take the effortless mastery thing and teach it to them, teach it to people at camp, that would be that's an idea I'm going to run with. I think I like that idea.
absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
can you imagine you go to school and I mean that's what you do in school. How valuable is that, And
Oh,
then you go out and spread it around because now you have I guess you have a degree in it. I'm not sure what they do with that.
yeah. I should ask him if it that's something you probably wouldn't want to just do without running it past Kenny first, just so you don't. Because I mean, if you didn't teach it right, you could give him a bad name. You know?
Well, I don't know. You should reach out to him. He's very reachable, and
Yeah.
um, I think that it's not probably not the first time he's been asked that.
Oh, I'm sure it
He
isn't.
probably has something that like something particular that he suggests, or you know.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I'd love to. Yeah, I'll reach out to him because I'd like to teach that kind of thing at camp. That would be great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is
You've taught, oh yeah, you've taught a lot of groups. Isn't teaching groups a lot different than teaching individuals?
yes and no.
Maybe it isn't for you. I don't know.
Well, um, it is in the way that you can get deeper with one person
Yeah, you can.
because you have kind of really because you have more time. But like workshops, that's one reason I really love workshops is because you get people up doing something and then I think people who take workshops are kind of brave, at least vocal workshops. I don't know
Mm.
about other workshops, but because they have to get up and if it's a teacher like me, we're going to kind of rip off your clothes and have you stand there naked.
What kind of workshops are you carrying on here? Yeah.
So, but and then if you're a student, you're observing each person. And when you observe the person doing that, there's a lot of things that can go on. You can think, oh, that person has that problem. I don't have that problem. Or you can think,
Yeah,
oh, I have that same problem. Or, it's very personal, but it's very relatable too.
that's a really good way to look at it. Thinking of them as sort of an outgrowth of who you are, and seeing how what they are experiencing is uh, how it relates to your own musical upbringing, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a really good way to look at it.
The other cool thing that used to happen, so like 20 years ago, I was running so many workshops. It was really a different scene. Cell phones were barely sneaking in and the internet. And so I had a group of students who were coming 8 to 8 workshops a month, like two different teachers every weekend, because I'd have people coming into town and everything. And the other great thing about that was they saw the same problem communicated about in a different way from everybody because we're all
Yeah,
different.
yeah,
And, especially like things like if you went through a particular problem and got to the other side with a particular group of actions or a mindset, then you use that to teach with, you know.
yeah, yeah.
And so students can see that, and that's like a whole thing, and then there's a whole thing, and there's a whole thing.
That's why I love teaching. I mean, I just love seeing the lights come on, you know.
Yeah,
And I mean, that's the reward, really. It
yeah.
really is the big reward. Um, let's see, I'm looking here for what made me think of it was camps. Uh, I mentioned that one of the camps that I've taught at for 20 years actually is a camp that may not return after the pandemic. I don't know, but it was called BC Swing Workshop. And it was really BC Jazz Workshop is really what it was. And I met some of the amazing musicians, Jennifer Scott, who I think you know
Hmm.
from there, her husband, Renee Wurst, and all of them. But I did an album with one of the guitarists up there, and that's probably my favorite project that I've done up till today, even, is an album called No Boundaries with Bill Coon.
Oh,
Bill Coon. And if you play another track, you should play it off of that. You find it on the Pearl Django website.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not trying to get you to play a track, but if you were going to play another track, that's the one I'd like you to play, just because I want to put a plug out there for Bill Coon, because he's a great friend and one of the greatest guitarists I've ever had the pleasure to work with.
So, excuse me. Oh, sorry.
Bless you,
I
bless
have such loud sneezes. Sorry. So I go to,
Go to Modern Hot Catalog and go to the bottom. No Boundaries, click on that. and you can play anything off that, but probably the first tune is probably the best. Not the best, but a perfectly good one.
Oh, they just give you a little.
Yeah, they'll give you the whole track.
Let me see if I can find it on Spotify. Just curious.
Sure. While you're looking, I just have to hit the bathroom. I will be right back.
Okay. Ron Peters, Bill Kuhn. Let's see. Ron Peters and Bill Kuhn. Ah, guess what? There it is. And I can play the whole thing. I have to ask him, like, I have to ask him who's who. On guitar play things, I always wonder about that. I don't know if you guys do also. Ron, is this you or him?
This is Bill.
There you are, right? Here we go. Yep. Yeah, something different.
Yeah. Bill's a marvelous player.
That's really nice. Yeah, beautiful.
We're
Whoops.
talking about doing another one.
You are? I think I let it play. Hold on one second. Oh, I know. I know where I am. I'm in Spotify.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's another one of yours. How insensitive. You know, did you ever hear the Ron Berman and I gotta send you that. There's
Oh, and Sid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't heard that. I know about it. I'd like to hear it because Sid's a great player. Sid Jacobs. Yeah.
You'll love that record. It's one of my favorite records. It's really beautiful, just the two of them. And
Didn't Reiner Civilly do one with Ron Berman also?
that was who it was. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me go look here. Was it Reiner? Reiner. Reiner? Yeah, it was Reiner. Reiner and Ron.
Okay, yeah.
Called Soul Eyes.
Oh, I have to hear that. Yeah.
It's one of my favorites, actually. It's really
cool. Cool.
Taylor has some good questions. I'm gonna look. There's one which is really funny. Oh yeah, and don't let me forget. Joyce wanted to know what brought you to Seattle, and do you have any current live performances? Let's talk about that first.
Okay. Well, what brought me to Seattle was literally, when I was still in Los Angeles, I got hired to teach at a music camp up here, and out of the blue, kind of. And it wasn't too long after I was here, I realized I found my peeps.
Oh,
And I went back after that week of camp, went back home and told my wife we're moving to Seattle. And we never
that she
looked
was
back.
open for it.
Yeah, she's a nurse. She can get a job anywhere. I knew that, and I knew I could get up here and start teaching and all of that. So that's what brought me here initially. As far as gigs go, it's been a little spotty, but better these last few months. I just did a really nice gig at the North City Bistro with Julian Smedley, Rick Lepinen, and Sherry Adams. You know them.
I do.
So we have a little. It started as a trio, and we have a quartet now. And
Yeah.
so we're targeting some more gigs probably in October. What else do I have on my calendar? I occasionally play some trad jazz gigs, believe it or not. I even find amazing. I've got a gig with it's at a retirement home with Kim McGuire coming up on the 19th. Let's see. Gigs that pay the best are always. Oh, here's the one I can plug that Joyce can maybe come out to. Starting Thursday, August 25th, I'll be every Thursday at Grape Choice in, which is a little wine store in Kirkland on the Kirkland waterfront with bass player Will Stump. It's just the two of us, and it's a lot of fun.
That's nice.
It's a real nice hang too. So Joyce, if you're listening, come out. Come and check us out. We're there from 5 to 7 every Thursday, starting on the 25th, all the way through September.
Nice. I want a weekly gig.
Yeah. It
A
was.
nice little weekly gig in a nice place, and yeah,
It's amazing how it really is a great thing to have. It
yeah,
keeps you sharp too. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. I've been doing about 4 or 5 gigs a month, which isn't bad.
Yeah.
I was just adding to my website last night, and October has a lot of gigs. It's like every weekend I have something, which is
Cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, it's like we went from famine to, I won't say feast, but we're slowly
It
slowly
feels
coming
like
back.
feast.
Yeah, two gigs feels like a feast.
Yeah, it does actually. It's funny, huh? I think they're I've talked to a few people in Europe too, and actually there's a lot of festivals going on, but as far as like gigs, it's, you know, and also Marty Jabara, he does a lot of musical theater, and so that's hard coming back because they're still doing social distancing, which really doesn't pay for the
Oh my
whole, doesn't pay the producers really. So.
God. Yeah, boy. It's been a very interesting time. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. I have a funny question from Taylor. I like this one. I'm sure this is very different for you, but what's your favorite chord?
Favorite chord. Uh, okay. I'll come up with one I like a lot. I like Lydian sounds. So like major seven, sharp 11. Matter of fact, my one of my email addresses is sharp11 at
I saw
Comcast.net.
that.
I like sharp 11 chords. They're just great sounding chords. So I'll throw that out there. I like all chords though.
I like Lydian too, actually.
Yeah, it's very haunting.
Yeah. I saw that Jim Fox, but now you told everybody. He said Thai place, you and me. Shh.
Oh, Jim, I
There,
want to come too.
there is a place, strangely enough, trying to think of the guitar player's name. Well, I won't go down my memory, my memory hole. But a few years back, I played a little bit with this guitar player, horn player, bass player at this Thai restaurant on Topanga Canyon on the way to Canoga Park. And I always wondered where that was. You know how you do a gig and you go, yeah, I remember kind of the general area, but I don't know the name of the place or.
Yeah,
So
I
Michelle
remember
Weir
where
and
my deck is.
I.
Sorry.
That's okay. So, like 2 weeks ago or something, Michelle Weir and I went to this really funny gig run that I do. It's fun and funny. Um, it's in this old bar that the original owner actually built because he loved jazz musicians. He would have jazz musicians, he would put them up if they were like having hard times and at his house. So anyway, he built this place called Casey's, and it's a tavern, it's like and people have been playing there for years. And Tuesdays and Thursdays, Henry Newmark, the drummer, has had this gig for several years with people, more local type of players like Jack Darrow on bass and Dave Moscow on piano and Dan Sawyer. Do you know Dan Sawyer?
Oh, Dan Sawyer. Yeah, yeah. I know
Yeah.
who he is. I don't know him, but I know who he is. He's a fine
Yeah.
player.
So he's a
Yeah.
great guitar player and a great sax player. Anyway, singing there is so super comfortable. You just,
Yeah.
you don't care. You're swinging your ass off. It's fun. So anyway, we were on our way and we decided to eat some Thai. And I found this place that looked really good. It was vegan and the pictures were gorgeous. So we stopped in and I'm looking around and, I'm looking in the corner and I'm like, God, this looks like the place, but not really. But it kind of looks like the place, that I sang at. It turned out to be the place that I had sung at.
Oh,
And
cool.
maybe they have music happening again. So it's like, wow, maybe I could work there occasionally.
Yeah, yeah.
Or have I don't know if I mean I say I'd like an every week gig, but do I really? I'm
Well,
getting old, man. Do I?
well, I know what you mean. Do it. I would say do it as long as it's no more than once a week, maybe 2 nights a week that are together.
Yeah.
That would be fine. But more than that would be almost, I don't know if I'd want to do that either. like the old days of 4 or 5 nights a week, 9 to 1. Those days are gone.
Okay, I have to share this with you. On this piece of paper, I decided, I can't remember why I decided this, but I decided to look at how I used to think and how I want to think now, because I'm trying to simplify and empty out.
That's great.
So
Healthy.
before it said any gig that got offered, I'd take. I'd work all day and into the night late. I'd teach as much as possible and I'd create workshops as much as possible. That's what I used to do. And now I'm not like that anymore, you know?
Yeah, it's funny how you change as you get older.
Yeah,
Your
it is funny.
priorities definitely change. There was a guy I met. I used to go to this festival just to go and hang and play. There's a thing called Weezer. It's an old time fiddle festival, but it attracts a lot of acoustic swing and jazz players that play under the trees around the festival, right? Nearby tents. But anyway, there was a guy there that he was a fine bassist, and he says, "Oh yeah, my wife made me a poster that I keep up on my refrigerator that has the days of the week along the side, and it has the amount of pay along the top." And he says, "I have to draw lines to to if it is actually it wasn't this days. I'm sorry, it wasn't days of the week. It was fun factor along the side,
Oh,
pay on the top, and so." If the fun was really high, but the pay was low, that's okay. But if the pay was really high and the fun factor was low, it was questionable. And if they were both really low, you don't do the gig.
that is funny. That poster should go viral, actually.
It should. I know. I thought it
That's
was a
funny.
great idea.
That is so funny and so true. The the yeah, it's I definitely think the pandemic has to do with it, and we just happen to be growing older during the pandemic, you know.
Yeah.
But because we're in that age now that you're past 60 and you're like your priorities change, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
feel like just uh
I,
doing what you want to do, you know.
I have these friends. He's about 40 and she's about 35.
Yeah.
I think she just turned 40. He's probably 42. And they have a little kind of an entertaining duo called Sunday, Sundae, and Mr. Gessel. And Sunday
Huh.
and Mr. Gessel is Kate Voss and Jason Gessel. And, she sings and plays melodica and ukulele, and he plays guitar. And they are absolute road animals. I mean, they just go out on the road and they're gone for 3 months and they do any gig that comes along pretty much, and they book it solid. And my hat is off because I know I couldn't do that now. I wouldn't want to do that now. They even bought an RV so that they can cruise
That
around in,
makes
and,
sense.
and
Yeah.
they do these things called curbside concerts where they just pull up to someone's house that they know in a neighborhood and they start playing outside the RV and get people gather around, and it's pretty amazing.
It's a great way to live, if that's
Yeah,
what you want to do, and it makes sense, and also it's a small group, and they're probably obviously they're a couple, right?
right. They're married, right?
Yeah, so
And you
I
should
mean,
look them up. But they're really wonderful. I mean,
mm,
they're not exactly my thing musically, but I respect them greatly. He's a great guitar player, and they just do a lot of fun stuff. She's a real entertainer type, tells jokes and the whole 9 yards.
that's cool.
It's cool.
A little like John Stoll, but not really.
John's so funny. A friend of mine went to see John Stoll and Kurt Rosenwinkel did a workshop together.
Wow.
And Kurt comes in and his shirt's all messed up and it's he's kind of not pulled together. And John comes in and he's got a sport coat and he's so pulled together. He's just
He is.
polar opposites.
Barry Zweig said the funniest thing about John. He said he was brought up by deers. And that's so funny because if you know John, he has this look on his face that's very it's kind of deer-like. It's like it's very fine, kind of fine and just sweet,
Yeah. Boy, talk about a road warrior. He's another guy that he's always on the road. I mean, he's here a lot, but he's also everywhere else a lot.
I
He's just
know.
constantly traveling. He
I
keeps
know.
a real small apartment in Portland, I think, and that's
Yeah.
he's not attached to a lady or anything. So
Yeah, he's amazing. Yeah.
yeah, he's totally amazing. Great guy.
Yeah. Um, Taylor's suggesting you might dig James Chirillo.
I know who James Chirillo is. Yeah, he's a great player. Yeah,
Mhm.
I do like him a
There you
lot. Yeah,
And he wants to know if you were ever influenced by Howard Roberts.
of course. Yes, absolutely. When I was really young, one of my teachers, one of my primary teachers was the guy who turned me on to Howard. And he's one of the first jazz guitarists that I ever heard. And later on, when I was in college in Costa Mesa, before I went to Berklee, he was out there doing workshops. And I went to one or two of his workshops. He also came to Berklee once when we were there. And yeah, Howard was amazing. His son lives here too, has a
Huh.
little, teaching studio over here.
Cool.
Howard retired in Edmonds, Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the answer is yes, Howard was a great player. Absolutely. Mitch Holder was really close with
Yeah, Mitch Holder. Yeah.
yeah. Mitch just left LA, by the way. Yeah. Yeah.
Pat Kelly moved up to
I know.
what is Robles?
Yes. I want to say
The
San.
first word? Santa Robles? No, is that right?
It's above San Luis Obispo, I think, where he went.
It's something Robles.
Paso Robles.
Paso Robles, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, a few people have moved up there. There's a nice gig up there that I'm going to do. It's called Libretto.
Oh, nice.
I'm bringing Larry Kuntz and Josh Nelson up because we did a
Oh.
really pretty record, which I'll have to send you, Dreamsville.
Oh, I'd love to hear that. I love Larry's playing. Larry's just something.
He
really
is something. He's so distinctive and really beautiful. It's always a pleasure to hear him. And also another favorite of mine is Anthony Wilson. He's
Oh,
just
Anthony's great. Wonderful player.
a great player. And Sunday I did a gig with Mitchell Long. Are you familiar with him?
Not familiar with him.
Fuck.
Guitar player?
Yeah, he's so good, and he's varied, and it's his personality too. He's very spontaneous, and he worked with let's see, what was the name of that group? Raw Silk? Yeah. Remember the vocal group, Raw Silk?
Ross Silk. Yeah, I remember that group.
So I interviewed one of them last week, but he worked with them, and then actually at some point he had to fill in for one of the singers, so he can sing too, and he's
Wow.
just a great he's a great person, and he really loves Brazilian music. He's very attached to Brazilian stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
I love it too.
he's really good though. Yeah, you'd like him a lot.
Cool.
You know what what got into my mind? We have to talk about this. So when Ron and I moved to LA, we were working a little bit, right? We had our duo, we were working, and I think it was LA, not San Francisco, but remember that restaurant gig where we were behind a piano bar?
That was in Berklee,
Okay.
California. Yeah. Where yeah, that moment. Yeah, that was
What happened? What happened was
you'll tell it better than I will.
I don't know. You can add. So we were doing this gig. It was kind of a large open room. There was a bar, and we were, of course, behind the piano bar, and we were playing, guitar and voice. you know. And we were having a good time. And at the bar, there was it a woman?
It was a woman, a very strange woman.
And
Very
you
nice.
actually showed what she was doing. Show it again.
She had a cigarette and she go, very good. There was something she said. She had complimentary words, but she was so weird.
She was really weird, and she was.
Yeah.
What did she actually have a real cigarette or no cigarette? And she was just doing that. I can't remember. It was.
She had a cigarette. It was the days when you could still smoke in bars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And anyway, this doesn't sound weird right now, but she kept doing it.
Yes.
And pretty soon, everybody was actually focused on her. And we started laughing, and we couldn't stop laughing. It was just the weirdest.
It was totally weird.
Oh my God.
You know, that was the same gig, I think. Do you remember getting in the elevator with a bunch of long-haired guys? And I think it was you that said, you look like the bear. The bear from, what was the rock band? Now I can't think of their name.
And it was?
And he says, I am the bear. And we went to their room and had a taste with them. I'll put it
Oh, wow.
that. Yeah. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that. I thought you were talking about
Canned heat. Canned heat. It was canned heat.
Oh, canned heat. I
Yeah.
thought you were talking about Lydia Pence and
Cold
whatever.
blood.
Yeah, Cold Blood. But I think I did a gig with them,
Oh yeah, they were great.
Casual. And that guy who played organ, he brought his B3 up to the Casual.
Oh man,
Elevator.
there's a dedicated musician.
Yeah, man. In those days, they probably didn't really have a lot of, synths.
Yeah, none of us did.
Wow, no, I don't remember Canned Heat, the bear, but there were a lot of things I don't remember about
Tell
that.
me about yeah. Surprised I remembered it. Like I said, where's my deck?
You remember I had a band in college with Mike Hatfield?
Yes.
So I've talked to him, and there were pictures of us, like, I don't know if you ever saw this picture. You probably did. But so we were in a hotel that we were performing in Leominster or something. And I was lying down on the bed in my dress and my arm up, my hairy armpits. And the band was standing around in their paisley shirts in their underwear. And that was the picture.
Well, that's like, that there's a picture of a band I was in Boston where it was Doug Leese. Remember Doug Leese?
Mhm.
And Steve Plotkin, and
Mhm.
I forget who the drummer was, but and we got bare ass pictures. We all turned around and took our
I
pants.
think I've seen that picture.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
have it somewhere. Oh, the things we did.
But we were, as I say, I often say this, we were so fortunate to uh, be playing so much and so many different things. We tried, we were trying everything. We were working on everything
It's
live with each other, and
and that's something that I hear about this from many of my students, high school age students, that
yeah,
they don't really have the opportunities to play like we had back then.
yeah.
And that's a big
know.
factor in how we arrived at where we are, and many of our friends that are our age. I mean, there were tons of playing opportunities. I mean, you could work 5 nights, 6, 8 nights a week if you wanted to.
Yeah.
I mean, you really could. And now those kind of gigs don't exist, and kids don't have. I said, well, you probably have somebody to, that you could play with and get together with. No,
I know.
it's really sad,
I know. I'm always making suggestions, call blah blah, go to this university, put up a sign, and they barely do that. And the opportunities were, well, that was how we were making a living too.
Yeah, exactly.
And nowadays it's so weird. We're not really most of us are really not making a living at performing.
Right.
Teaching is a big part of it. We're certainly not making a living selling CDs, you know.
Yeah, right. Nobody buys. I was at a gig. I had my CDs all laid out. And a guy, the bass player I was working. This was at that wine store, and the bass player I was working with, he's in another band, and his guitar player from the other band came up to me, guy about 50, and he comes up to me, he goes, "Nobody buys CDs anymore. What are these?" And he's right. I never sold a CD there yet.
Well, it's weird. I mean, obviously, the general public is not buying them. There are people who buy them to support, right?
Yeah,
My
I
friend
know.
Dan Davila always buys CDs. And in fact, not only does he buy CDs for himself, he buys CDs to give me and a few other people.
Yep. I
Um,
just got a CD in the mail from somebody that did that. I remember.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember a long time ago at the Blue Whale, it had to be at least 10 years ago, and John DeVersa was playing with a group. And what he did, I actually, I don't do it enough really, because I would like to do it more. But he put out his, no, he put out a tip jar and he said, "We are going to give you our CDs because we want you to go home with our music. And if you want to put some money in the jar, you can."
That's a really great idea.
It's a great idea, and it does work. I mean, you're not selling them for exactly what you would sell them, but it really doesn't matter because you're getting
Sure.
the music out and you're emptying your garage a little bit.
Yeah.
And you're making a little money, you know?
Yeah. Rick Lepnin's really funny. Like one day he comes, a bunch of my CDs are stored in his garage. And he goes, "You want a box of CDs?" He goes, "Take these home. I got a whole shelf full of CDs."
Oh God, Gary, my husband Gary. So the reason why I don't really get rid of I mean, there's a lot of CDs, of each CD, and the one of the main reasons I didn't get rid of them was because I was going to Japan every year, and I did sell a bunch of CDs in Japan,
Yeah.
and that's like a portion of the money that I make. And of course, now I'm not going to Japan yet, and who knows if that will happen again. But um, so we have a large shelf in the garage
Yeah.
with a lot of the CDs. And, you know, I
Rick,
think the way that I was saying that John DeVersa did, I think that's you're still giving away very few CDs, but
yeah.
it works. It does work
Oh,
sometimes.
yeah, it's just a good thing to do. And I'm one of those people that still likes CDs too. I have thousands of CDs, and I still listen to them. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
there are a few of us left. I
yeah,
I never got back into the vinyl thing very much. Most of my friends have, but
me too.
uh,
Although I have a lot of vinyl because Gary has collected a lot of vinyl, like thousands of records,
yeah,
both LPs and 45s.
wow,
And every now and then he'll bring me some jazz stuff. And so what I've been doing is I've been trying to listen to the albums that I've received and, see if I like them. Sometimes I don't even know how they they got into the collection. It's like, who did I listen to the other day? I don't know, some Guy Lombardo. Why did I have a Guy Lombardo album? I have no idea. And sometimes I'll listen, just to make sure.
yeah.
Now who's Steve Swallow's wife?
Oh, yeah. Hang on, I have it. I know who you mean, but I can't think.
Blay, Carla Blay.
Yeah, yeah, Carla Bley.
So I did find an incredible record of her, and it was a quintet that she wrote for, and I could have played that forever. It was so good.
She's
So
amazing. Yeah.
yeah, so I'll come across stuff, and I did, we redid some stuff in our house, and I did get rid of some of the CDs that I had no emotional attachment to, and also what I did was I put every CD I owned into my computer.
I know. That's time consuming. You actually did that?
I
Wow.
I was obsessed.
Yeah, you have to be. A friend of mine did that, the guy that moved to St. Louis, and but he hired a high school kid to come over for small dollars to say, hey, do this for 3 or 4 hours, and paid him for the hourly wage, and
Good idea.
kid was happy, and it got all done that way.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll show you the last CD that I've like not put in, but the last CD, because I'll put them in and then I'm doing so many different things that I have to pay attention to my own shit, my own music, that I don't listen. But this is not a jazz record, but this is the last record that I listened to. And this is
Mark Jordan and Amy Skye. Wow.
Yeah, do you know Mark Jordan?
Name rings a bell, but you don't recognize him there.
Okay, so they're husband and wife. They've been in the business for years. He's a writer who's written for, oh gosh, I forget his name right now. One of the big rock singers ever. He sold something like 1 million copies of his song on one of that guy's records. And then he has, he also even wrote for the Manhattan Transfer. Anyway, he's a great writer, kind of along the lines of Bonnie Raitt. And he plays guitar and he sings. To me, he sings like a jazz singer, but he's singing those kind of songs.
Yeah, that's cool.
His wife is an incredible singer. Mostly she's been a background singer. And this record is so good. The production on it is great. I don't know what to call. It's like a blend of interesting music. There's like a bit of country, but it's produced so well. It's almost has a little jazz, and they did a few covers.
You know what Duke Ellington said? There's only two kinds of music: good and bad.
Yeah.
And I really believe that. I mean, I hear a lot of kind of pop oriented music that I think is pretty good.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of dreck out there right now, but there's a lot of kind of, out of the limelight pop groups that do some interesting stuff. Have you heard the Alabama Shakes?
No, but that sounds familiar.
They're really interesting.
Alabama Shakes.
Yeah, Shakes is just like it sounds, like a milkshake. And then I'm sure you've heard Dirty Loops.
No.
Dave
Nope.
Diggs, I think, turned me on to Dirty Loops about 10 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it was Dave Diggs. Anyway, they're an amazing Scandinavian trio of musicianship in that band is off the charts. They're really amazing. Snarky Puppy.
Definitely have heard Snarky Puppy. Yeah. I think they're friggin' amazing.
They are amazing. I know. Yeah.
Kind of my heroes,
Oh, I know. So there's so much good music out there. And then there's like a young crop of musicians in New York that are doing a lot of cool stuff. Gretchen Parlato, Julian Lage.
Yeah, Julian.
Yeah, those people. They're all.
Yeah. There's a shitload of great music out there. And I'm just looking at Taylor has a lot of comments, but I do like this question, Taylor, when you ask it. Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
When you've encountered ruts or creative blocks, what helps you get unstuck?
Wow, it's a really good question.
Yeah, it is a good question.
A good single malt. No, in all honesty, I think what gets me out of that is not being afraid to take a day or two off.
Oh.
And to listen to my favorite music. Listen to stuff that I really, really feel connected to. And then I usually find myself out of the rut.
Interesting.
A single malt doesn't hurt either.
Yeah, I know. That's true. For me, I find for me reading, whatever you want to call them, books, spiritual or self-help, that kind of.
Those are always good too. Yeah.
I find that I could read if it's a friendly reading book for me, and one sentence might just get right in there and go and then that's it. And it's great. That and also sitting down at the piano for me, sitting down, it's probably different for you guys because you're working on maybe you're working on something, but just sitting and playing and singing and just you know, just enjoying it.
Yeah, I'll sit down and just start noodling
Yeah.
and see if I can, see if something interesting pops up that I might want to develop into a tune. So I'll do that. I
Have you
think
written a lot of songs?
I wouldn't say I'm not a real prolific writer, but I've written some songs. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not one of these people who cranks them out, but because I'm very self-critical, which is bad. But I'm also learning better how to deal with that little critic that sits on your shoulder. Yeah,
Yeah.
that sucks. That sucks. Stop that. You know,
Suck
that guy,
monster.
I sweep him off. And yeah, right. And yeah, so I've written some stuff. There's on that Bill Coon album, there's a couple of my tunes on there.
Which is
Alexa is one. I forgot what else is on there, but I think there's two on there. I did another CD that's actually, see if you can find it. It's called Trio Incognito.
oh, that sounds familiar. Have I seen that?
Well, it turns out it's not that unusual of a name. There are a couple of other groups across the country that have used that name. But a friend of mine, fiddle player named Paul Elliott, who now is with the Sons of the Pioneers, believe it or not,
Oh wow.
plays country and he also plays jazz, both equally well. And a bass player named Kerry Black, who is playing in a bluegrass band now too, also is a great jazz player. And the three of us were always getting called to be on other people's recording projects a lot as the rhythm section and
Oh,
soloist. And so one day we thought, hey, we should make our own CD. So we did. And that's more, I should have thought of that earlier. It's a more recent CD.
that's not with David Bixler, right?
No,
I'm looking around here.
it might pop up. I know it's on Spotify. I think.
That's what I was looking. Trio Incognito.
Yes.
I looked under, let's see. And that is the name Trio Incognito.
Yes.
Well, if you find it, let me know.
Uh,
I put that into Spotify, but David Bixler came up. I put your name in that.
yeah.
Maybe
Huh.
Ron
We're
Peter.
not in that. I could have sworn we were on here. Try. Do you have CD Baby?
Yeah.
It might be on there.
Let's see.
I'll look under title.
CD Baby. Do I have to log in to listen?
I don't know.
Well, I'm trying to.
David Bixler keeps coming up for me too.
Yeah. Let's see.
Well, not hard to find. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
Nobody-
actually, I don't think a CD Baby. I think it's not.
The other one that comes to mind is SoundCloud.
Oh, SoundCloud. Let's see. Or how about Bandcamp?
Or Bandcamp, either one. Yeah,
Are you on Bandcamp, you think?
it's possible. I don't remember. I wasn't the one that placed all that stuff, so I don't know for sure.
Let's see. Um, let's see. Trio Incognito.
Yes.
Christian Promer, Trio Incognito. That's not you. Um, Found 59 tracks.
Ah,
Um, okay, well, let's try Bandcamp.
yeah,
Trio Incognito. Do you have it in your
I'm looking.
yeah, if you have it like, hey, we didn't talk about Pearl Django.
Oh yeah,
Let's
that's
talk
right.
about Pearl Django.
Yes,
So, how long were you in Pearl Django?
I was off and on. I was with them um, from let me see. I would say about well, I've worked on and off with them for more than a decade, but as a sort of more regular member, probably about 3 years. And they went through a bunch of changes because their original lineup had a guy named Dudley Hill playing guitar, had three guitars: Neil Anderson, Dudley Hill, and Shelley Park. Shelley Park um, decided to leave and pursue her guitar building career, of which she's a internationally famous luthier of Django style guitars. So she
Oh,
left, and so I was called in to replace her at first. So then it was just three guitars again, and I was functioning as the rhythm guitarist. Then Dudley got cancer,
oh,
and Dudley ended up dying,
mm,
and I came in and replaced Dudley for a long time. But um, I think let me think about this for a second. Yeah, so I did. I was involved in one of their albums. I mentioned Modern Times, and I played on all that. And then they wanted somebody that was more of a true Djangophile, which I'm not. I'm more of a jazz player. They wanted someone that really kind of was cut out of the um, Django mold a little more and had the Macaferry guitar and all of that. And so they kept looking, and they found a couple other guys that would fit that bill. And
mhm.
even after those guys joined the band, if they ever couldn't do the gig, I was always called in as a sub. These days, Tim Lurch is playing with them now, and
Yeah.
um, Tim's just he's great, and they have another rhythm guitar. So they only use two guitars now, and you know, I could still get called at any minute if Tim or somebody couldn't do it. But the guys, the bass player Rick Lepinen and his wife are friends, and you know them as well. And they were people that decided they wanted to do something different outside of Pearl Django, and so that's how we got started with that. Um, with the Anderson trio, the Sherry Anderson trio, and then we added a fourth member, which is Julian Smedley. He used to play in the Hot Club of San Francisco, and he's kind of more of a producer guy. And he's been doing some gigs with us. We'll see how long he's in it, and after that, we might add somebody different. I don't know what, but anyway, Pearl Django. Those guys are all really good friends of mine, and I'm honored to play that music with them, and it taught me a lot. I learned a lot about a lot of things playing with them. You know, I even named my dog after Django Reinhardt, who's
That's cool.
that
Cool.
dog's long gone now, but that was so I started playing with them, I think about 1998,
Yeah.
maybe 97,
Uh-huh.
and played with them up to like 2001 or so.
I
And
um I also talked to Gail Pettis.
Gail's great. Yeah.
Yeah, and she sang with Pearl, or she does
She
now.
does sing with them. Yeah.
Yeah, sounded really good.
Gail's a sweetheart. She came to our gig when the Sherry Adams group. She came and she sometimes sits in with us and will do a song. She's great. I really
Yeah.
like her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, another Taylor question, which is cool. I'm going to adjust it a little bit. He's asking about tone, and he's wondering who you thought had a great tone, and do you? I'm adjusting his question, but do you or have you emulated that person, or because tone, of course, is one of the biggest things about an instrumentalist and vocalist too, a musician. I'll just say tone. I mean, it's
Yeah, well,
that's what comes to you immediately when you're the listener, right?
mhm. I think the guitarists that come to mind with the tone that spoke to me, Wes Montgomery, would be
Hmm.
probably first. Um, Ed Bickert is
Hmm.
right up there. Jim Hall.
Hmm.
Those guys all have a tone that I sort of emulate. Probably, probably Jim Hall almost more than anybody else. I really like Jim's tone, but certainly Wes. I mean, you can't beat Wes's tone, but it's all because he played with his thumb. Not all because, but a
Yeah,
large part of his tone is the flesh of his thumb.
yeah.
It's hard to emulate that with the pick, and I do play pick.
So do you have you settled on your tone now, or do you work on it? Do you change it?
Um, I've settled pretty much on it. However, I probably in more recent times I used to use more delay and reverb and stuff than I do today. I've been somewhat influenced by great guitarist Peter Bernstein. I
Yeah.
like his tone a lot, and he just plugs straight into an amp. He doesn't use hardly any reverb or anything.
Oh,
So I'm using less reverb and delay than I used to use
huh.
because I just like the sound of the guitar. I'm
Yeah.
kind of straight into the amp kind of guy, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, it also to some extent depends on the gig.
Yeah.
What's needed for the band. Have to listen to what's going on in the band and figure out what's the right sound for that.
Yeah, definitely. Um, you were making me think for some reason of Jeff Richmond.
Oh, Jeff's great. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely not a plug into the amp guy.
No, he's a pedalboard guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a pedal board when I need it, but I don't
Yeah,
find myself using it that much.
yeah. I mean, it's all good. It's all who you are,
Sure.
what you are.
I mean, sure. Look at Pat Metheny when it comes to a gig. He's got 3 racks of gear behind him. you know,
Incredible.
I know he's got a person that sets all that stuff up for him because he can afford it, but also because he's got so much gear, it would take him an extra day on a tour just to set up the gear.
I know. You know who I saw recently with the trio is Bill Frisell.
Oh, Bill's great. Yeah.
That was really good.
Who was the in the trio?
Oh, it was his new trio. Um, I have to go look. It was wonderful. Bill Frisell. His new trio is, I like the internet has the question genre. It's like, yeah, good luck with that, you know? Okay, let's see. Let's see. He's working a lot too.
That guy works like a maniac. He used to live here. Used to see him around, but
Okay.
he's,
So I'm trying to look for um I don't know if my friend Dan is on. Dan, are you on here? Let's see. I'm trying to look. It's like his new trio. Um
have you heard
Bill,
his vocal album?
him singing?
No, it's him with a vocal group, and it's Petra Hayden, which is Charlie
Petra,
Hayden's daughter,
right.
and a guy that my daughter knows is singing and playing second guitar with him, and I'm looking that up right now.
Oh, interesting.
Um,
Okay, here we go. It is Thomas Morgan on the bass,
oh, he's great. Yeah.
and he's a really if you looked at him, you wouldn't go, "Oh yeah, jazz bass player."
Yeah.
Wow. And the drummer is Rudy Royston.
Oh, yeah. Rudy's been off and on with Bill for 40 years, I think. Yeah, the album I'm thinking of is this one.
Oh,
And Luke is the friend of my daughter's. Um, Luke
I'm gonna
Bergman,
have to check that
Petra,
out. I
Petra
don't
Hayden. Yeah, she's a good singer. She's very good.
Frizzell and what is it called?
Harmony.
Harmony. I
And
do have one that I love. I wonder if I can find it real fast. Let me just entertain the people there.
so I says to my wife.
Um, looking. Oh yeah, I am. Is this it? Yeah. This is really cool. I also brought over. Have you heard the Schofield solo record?
No, I've been eyeballing it, thinking of getting it.
Pretty cool. And well, first of all, this is Bill Frisell, Nashville.
Well, that's a great album. Yeah, I know that one.
Love this record.
I know.
So cool.
I know.
Really good. It really speaks to you immediately. Do you know this guy, Tizigi Munoz?
I do not. Wow.
You should check this guy out. You know who turned me on to him? Bob Moses.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
and he's a spiritual guru as well, and he's Bob's guru, but he's a guitarist who has played with Liebman, and he's played with he's
Oh, I love Liebman.
kind of a rock jazz guitarist, but and also a percussionist. He's from Puerto Rico originally, and on the same record, he has tons of recordings, and on the same recording, he can be incredibly soft and beautiful, and then the next song is like wild,
Wow.
fusion,
Let me see his name again. So I can write it down.
It's Tiziji, and then Munoz with a Z on the end. Very interesting guy. Oh, actually, this record is, Gene Perla was his engineer. This is with Dave Liebman on this
Okay.
particular
Oh,
record.
cool.
Yeah.
Dave Liebman's one of my heroes.
Yeah. I interviewed him. That was fun.
You did? Oh, I have to see. Okay. Go back through your archives and check.
Yeah. I try and get, to everybody. Famous and non-famous,
My hat is off to you. I mean, this is a really great thing you do.
Eh,
It is. It really is great because it exposes people that maybe exposes a musician that others may not know about
Yeah.
is one thing, or it shows you that we're all just people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really a great thing you do.
I agree on both of those. I mean, and what's cool is it's kind of like that workshop thing that I was talking about. Everybody's a human, we all have the same mechanics. We all operate on the same mechanics, but at different times they'll show themselves because we're different individuals. But
Yeah.
so talking to people is really interesting. And I I guess I talk to people similarly to how I teach. I let and sing too, I guess. I like to give people space.
Yeah.
I don't want to totally direct the conversation. I want it to have it organic and have come up whatever's going to come up, because I want to see what the person is going to offer and bring out, and and it's pretty fascinating. I get a lot out of it. As a matter of fact, you know what I'm doing this week? I think it's this week I'm starting. No, maybe next week. Okay, it's a little bit of a story. So for years, I've been trying to imagine what I could do on Patreon.
Oh yeah.
And I made an account. Yeah, I was like, okay, I'm going to get in there and do all the work, because you have to make these different tiers. Like if you pay $5 a month, you get this from me. $10 a month, you get this, and
Yeah.
so on. And I just could never press go. It just always felt, it just didn't feel right. Something about it didn't feel right. I wasn't being dishonest in any of it, or, but it just didn't feel, I don't know, it just wasn't right. So finally, I was reading a book and I read one sentence,
Oh yeah. There it is.
and that sentence made me go, oh. And so what I realized was part of the reason I didn't want to push go was because it was so much extra work.
Yeah.
It's almost like a career in itself.
Well, yeah. All the social media stuff can feel like that.
Yeah, and I don't want to. I
Spend
don't
a whole
want
day on the computer.
too much. Yeah, maybe when I was 25, and
Yeah.
maybe that's actually what started me writing down that list. But but I did realize I could do one tier, one thing. People can pay me, a small amount every month. And what's going to happen is once every 3 weeks or so, I am going to have a Zoom where I watch each of these noontime shows. I don't know if I'll get through one in the whole day. I might. And
Yeah.
then write down the aha moments.
Ah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, I wanted to make a book of that, the aha moments from the noontime shows.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and so people coming on, they can actually help. They can be listed as a contributing author, like we'll write down the aha moments, and I think it's going to be just a fun, inspirational series of books.
Which reminds me, I still have to buy your book. Yeah. Yeah.
Da-da-da, da-da-da-da. It's cheap on Kindle,
Yeah.
very cheap.
Yeah.
Like $3 or something.
Yeah. My wife loves the title and she loves that inspirational kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna get
Oh, that's
her.
nice. How
Yeah.
is she? Is she good?
She's good. She ended up breaking her kneecap about 6 weeks ago, so she's been kind of laid up. She's getting out of it now. She broke her kneecap at work, so she's been off
Oh,
work and all that. But good timing to be off work from an ER, if you know what I mean.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So she's coming through it good. She says
Well,
it's
that's
high.
that's weird because did you know that I broke my kneecap?
No, when?
This was years ago, but now it's just getting to the point now. I broke it when I was married to Gus, so it was a long time ago. But it's getting to the point now where I need to have it replaced because it's been 25 or 30 years, and it's
Wow.
just it's bone on bone, and it's not fun anymore. I just can't just enjoy walking around.
Oh yeah.
So I think I'm gonna get a new kneecap in January.
Oh, well, good luck with that. It's a kind of a big deal. A friend of mine just had knee surgery. A young friend of mine who lives in the Bay Area, and get one of those ice things. There's some kind of a ice pump thing that pumps ice water around your knee. It's a
Oh,
special device. She sent me for Cathy. She sent me
oh,
a link to it. I'll send it to you.
oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of people who have had the knee surgery. Very few have had negative responses.
Oh yeah,
Most people are like the next day they feel no pain. I mean, they do feel the pain of the surgery, and it's hard.
that
And
goes away though. Yeah,
yeah, but they don't feel the same pain they felt before.
right,
Yeah,
right.
so I'm looking forward to that.
How did you break your kneecap?
I was I was in Palm Springs on this fabulous week gig, and after like the first day, I went hiking and I climbed up a rock and I fell on my kneecap.
Oh,
We were in, we were a little deep in, and when I thought about walking out, I just couldn't confront it because if I would stand on my leg and straighten, it would be ultimate pain. So the guy I
oh,
was with said, "Yeah, I'll get a helicopter or something." And I was like, "Oh, no, 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 no." I was like, "No, no, no helicopter." So I did actually walk out with him, and
oh my God.
we were in the hospital, and I was totally strong up until the point I had my husband on the phone.
Oh yeah.
As soon as I heard his voice, I started crying. Which you can imagine, he was like going, "What the hell is going on?"
Oh.
Uh,
Wow. Yeah, I mean, were you out in Joshua Tree, I imagine, somewhere like that?
um, well,
All
it was
the,
Palm Springs, actually, in Palm Springs.
oh, okay. Yeah, I know some of those hikes. We love Palm Springs. It's great. Yeah. Wow.
Well, tell her
Oh,
I hope she feels better soon, and yeah, I mean, it'll probably be a few more years if she needs a new kneecap.
yeah, I'm hoping that fortunately, it didn't completely fracture the kneecap. It's just a hairline fracture.
Oh,
Healing. So hopefully it'll heal
Oh,
well and she won't have to have it replaced. But
that's great.
no surgery, but she's still been way laid up, the leg brace and the whole deal.
Yeah,
But she's getting better.
yeah, that's
Oh
a
yeah, love the picture behind you of Margie and Edith.
I know. Isn't
That's a
that
great picture.
friggin' that I have a few pictures from that day or something. They were sitting on top of the counter with flour all around, because apparently my mother was cooking or something. And, there's a something with a Pillsbury sign near it. It's really cute, man. This one is Stephanie Haynes and me.
With that next one over.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah. Wow.
that was a long time ago. A long time
I
ago.
got one more picture to show you if I can find it fast. Hold
Oh,
on.
good. Okay.
If I can
Do
find
you
it.
see this word backwards or regular? This word right here, gratitude. Is this backwards?
Gratitude. No, that's spelled right. That's correct.
So I mean, because I mirrored it, so I just wondered if you actually could read it normally.
Oh, you mirrored it?
Well, I mirrored this. You could turn around so these pictures would be on this side.
Oh, of course. Yeah, yeah. Um, hang on, hang on.
And Taylor has one question, final question.
Good.
What's a jazz record that you think isn't being listened to enough?
Hmm. A really good question. We got another loaded question. I have to think on that one for a minute while I'm looking for this picture. I'm going to say Blues and the Abstract Truth, Oliver Nelson.
I love that record so much. I bet we listened to that when we were in college.
I'm sure we did. I mean, that album is still one of my favorite albums.
Yeah, that is so good.
If this is going to come up or not. Oh, well, I don't want a lot of dead space. I can't find it right now. Yeah.
Well, Ron, it's been 2 hours.
Yeah, Cathy, so it's been such a pleasure. Thank you for asking me.
It's been
And
great.
yeah, thanks everybody for watching, you know.
Yeah, and thanks, Taylor, for your
Yeah,
good guitarist questions.
absolutely. Yes.
He's
I'm,
really good with that.
I'm as close as the internet.
Well, Ron, I hope everything's good. I hope, the gigs are more on the fun side and pay well too.
Yeah. Well, you too. And stay healthy. Don't get the COVID.
No,
Have you guys had it yet?
absolutely
Did you
not.
guys get it?
No, actually, Gary and I have not gotten COVID,
Neither
which is kind of amazing because I haven't gone crazy, but I have definitely gone out, a bunch and hugged people.
yeah. Well, yeah. I've been going out more, but yeah, we haven't gotten it either. So cross our fingers,
Yeah.
Rick and Sherry both had it, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. Well, all right, Cathy, thanks again. Are you planning to come up this way anytime soon?
I'm trying to whip it up. Maybe next year sometime I'll come up and do, a workshop and a gig or two. That would be really fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
I will look forward to that.
Yeah, me too. And for those of you, interested, we're going to have archives being posted this week and into next week because I'm having a little family beach holiday where I'm not going to have live things. However, before I leave, anyone in LA can come to my gig, my monthly gig.
Ooh, yeah, right. Don't hurt yourself now.
Right. Saturday night at the conference room in Playa Vista. It's really nice. And this time it's outside and their beautiful patio.
That looks like a great place.
It's really nice. And the band is so great to sing with. And I have to say, so I do a set and then the jam session happens. And the people getting up to jam have a great time and sound beautiful. And yeah, it's really nice. And it's early, 6:30 to 9:30. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Have a good one.
Oh, thanks. Well, bye, Ron.
Oh, bye, Cathy. So great to see you.
Thanks. Love you a lot. And thanks for the hang.
Oh, thank you. Love you too. We'll see you now.